quick turnaround, but going back on Saturday after fully digesting the tape, lack of complimentary football, really all three phases, there wasn't enough there. There was some really good things in all three phases, but not enough to make it a lot closer in the fourth quarter and ultimately, win the game. And again, credit to Illinois. I thought they did a nice job, a couple of facets schematically. They tweaked a couple times in protection that we couldn't get home, especially on third down, that they blocked up well. And their quarterback made some good throws when there was needed, especially on some of those third and longers. Offensively, up front, we need to establish some things better. Protection wasn't as good as even I thought. It wasn't great on the field. Looking at it again, there's a lot of edges there. Aiden did a nice job getting the ball out a few times. We can protect the guy better, and we're going to need to, special teams wise. We had to execute in the punt. You look at the yardage when we were punting the ball, net. How much? We've lost that side of things. So their punt return, our punt. Again, going off of the previous week, we had protection issues. Now we had to get a little more hang time and eliminate some of those hidden yards on special teams. So, like I said, quick turnaround moving forward. Practice this morning. Guys are, back to work. There's definitely some disappointment, frustration. But I thought looking at the work, they're putting that effort and energy, emotion into the practice today, because that is a quick turnaround, and it felt like guys were moving out full speed and going. So like the work we got done today, because looking at Purdue, you watch this tape, they've been able to move the ball. They've had some lighter scoring just because some of the red zones similar to us. You look at their schedule and the opponents they've played, a bunch of top 5 teams, and that's what this league is and all of that. So we'll know we'll have a challenge Friday night.
Jonathan, did you anything you learned about that first quick turnaround going to Oregon? Is there anything that changes when you're not going to the West Coast and you're staying home for the week? Just as far as how you structure the week.
We did talk about that as a staff a little bit yesterday, of just kind of how we prepared and that we liked in regards to turning Monday into Tuesday, and we combined Sunday and Monday, and that's what we did here. So I say that meaning Sunday heavy, looking at the previous game, and then Monday is moving forward, so we comboed that, and so we were working quite a bit last night, and so that rhythm will stay. A little bit later in the season, our practices will be a little bit shorter than earlier in the week. Outside of that, it's the same kind of practice days for the short week.
You mentioned about the protection. I'm wondering what kind of things you did see when you go back, and then how does that maybe affect the kind of things maybe in the passing game downfield that you guys want to do when the protection isn't there?
Yeah, some of the protection issues, it started by just getting beat one-on-one, and then we did not do a good job of passing off a few line games, and give Illinois some credit. There's some detail to those games, and they executed it really well on two-man games, things of that nature. We talked a little bit, we want to continue maybe look at changing the launch point, changing the timing to when the ball's coming out, so that you throw it a little bit quicker to set it up, not always taking deep sets at quarterback, which we've been doing. It was just a game where it was more leakage than we're accustomed to in the protection. Well, yeah, it does, but at the same time, some of your best protection is off of action when they think it might be run, and so they're not in a pass rush mode. So we still want to set up some of our stuff down the field off of action pass. And, we had some creases. Marsh had a nice catch over the middle of the field. It's kind of out of a gun action pass. So that part won't be dramatically different, but you are picking and choosing when you're going to take a deeper drop at quarterback. You want to have some protection, whether it's off of action or you're adding in a body, tight end, or the back.
Jonathan, I don't know if this is fair because I wasn't at the game, but were you disappointed with a little lack of intensity coming out of the gate? It seemed like in the second half, for whatever reason, you had it. Or, your team can't afford not to bring it every minute, right? Especially with all the injuries.
Well, no question, but I look at the start of the second half. We started with the ball and went down and got a score.
Right. I'm saying in the first half.
Oh, the first half?
Yeah, coming out of the gate.
I didn't feel like there was a lack there, energy-wise. It just comes down to, again, these execution. Give Illinois some credit, but I didn't think our energy or want to. I look at, there's a couple reps defensively. They're throwing quick screen out there. We got a bunch of bodies running to the ball. The energy, effort was there.
having reviewed the film, Jalen Thompson, what did you make of his performance in the secondary, and what did you see out of him?
Did some good things. Newer player back there in the secondary, was in the right spots. Talking about coverage, his responsibilities. Shoot, got himself almost an interception, making a play on a ball that kind of skipped. He was right there, tackled, pretty solid. So I thought it was a pretty good performance for his first time of a lot of playing time. That currently is the plan, yeah.
Jonathan, for a couple games, it looked like the offensive line was really making some notable progress, and I'm just wondering where you've seen that regression and sort of why, in from your perspective, it's happened.
Yeah, and again, I'm going off of one performance where, again, the overall in the run game could have been better. Protection stood out a little bit more in this game. I don't want to go to the point of just flat out regression, but give Illinois some credit. Now, these guys had a week to buy. And probably saw a tendency or two of a pass set. And again, they executed some line games. We got to do a better job of passing those off. That group's still working. And as a whole, offensively, I think we got to continue to find ways because we can move the ball. It's just coming to ways to continue to finish, and that's a group effort.
I'm wondering with Purdue, Jonathan, they haven't played a lot of close games, but they've played a couple. I don't know how deep your review went, but when they took a couple of overtime, when they played close games, is there anything is there any common threads there that you?
Yeah,
noticed?
these guys will play for 4 quarters. I look at Illinois; they go to overtime with Illinois, a team that we just got beat by pretty good. So I mean, they've got our attention. This team keeps playing. I give them some credit. The record's tough, just like we're on a losing streak in ways. They've got that team continually motivated. They're playing.
Going off that a little bit too, is there anything when it's a team that's lost a lot of games and got beat pretty good in some of those games, do you as coaches try to guard against anything in terms of these guys are going to be hungry, don't let them get up type of thing, don't let them
I don't think
have
it's, yeah, I understand the question. Each week you're going to definitely present to our team the opponent and their strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, kind of who they've played, how it's gone. So we've described all that. I don't think, I'm not worried about these guys in our team currently. Overlooking, worried about the opponent. We focus on ourselves, our preparation, and that needs to stay the same.
2 home games to close out the year. How big is that for recruiting, especially when there's some teams who are done at home this year?
Yeah, definitely love the idea of getting back home. Yeah, back-to-back games at home. Definitely recruiting, having them at our place, the atmosphere, all of that helps, and we want to finish well at home.
Jonathan, in the front here. I was wondering, any of the guys that you had that were out on Saturday, any of those guys you expect to be back this week?
I'm just thinking about a couple guys in the back end. I do not anticipate Chuck or any of those guys back in the secondary.
And then as far as Aiden's concerned, this is, he's 10 games in as a starter. I guess, have you seen the progression and some of the development you were looking for from him coming out of the year?
Some of it, yeah.
And how you thought he played?
Yeah, I think he's played, better. I thought the way he's carrying the ball and he's decisive in the run game, competitive, did a good job taking care of the ball, didn't turn it over last week. I think there's a lot that he's continued to progress in. Because, and again, some of this was hectic in the pocket on him, and he kept standing in there. I think about that 4th down play, first drive, second half, it's about midfield, we're going for it. It's because of Aiden's ability to continue to get some depth where the protection wasn't allow the crosser to get there. It was a really good rep that shows, I think, some of his poise, confidence has come along.
10 games into your tenure here as Michigan State's head coach, what are the biggest positives you look at for the program as a whole, and what are the things that you maybe are irritated most by in your first 10 games here?
Yeah, I think, on the positive end, we're laying a foundation of watching the work. Our systems are getting established, confident as we continue to do that. That approach will continue to build over time here. Definitely frustrations. We want some immediate results, no question, and that's been shorter than we've liked. But we still got two opportunities to put the final kind of chapters on this first season.
6+ games now without a sack. I mean, that's got to be something that you've probably never seen in your football, because usually someone will stumble into one even.
Yeah.
But I guess it looked like you guys were bringing pressure from different angles. Like, how do you try and maybe simulate it or get those DNs a little better downfield into the backfield?
Yeah, Schematically, we did, off the bye, introduce a couple new pressures, but actually, we were really close. We had a couple times guys were running free. Good job by them, extending, throwing the ball away. That showed up. We have not won enough one-on-ones. When you just, you have four-man rush, hand in the dirt and do it, we have not. And some of that, the ball's coming out with good, quarterback play or schematics, but it affects the passer when he hits the turf, and obviously the field position when you can get him behind the sticks, and that's been something that we got to do better.
Jonathan, I'm sure a team revises its goals as the season goes along. 6 is a magic number now because you're bowl eligible. Is that something you talk about or not?
I think they're aware. We definitely want, I'd say in terms of we want to win more than we lose. We understand the opportunity we have currently of getting to that number, but we got to get to 5 before we get to 6. And so oftentimes, the focus is on this week and what we control. And that's why this game's a really big game.
In the bigger picture, though, would that be a big deal to be bowl eligible?
It would, yeah. Momentum of the program, the extra work you get, right? I think it's a big deal we got some guys on this team who've been around here a long time, and for them to be able to go out on a positive note is a really big deal.
Jonathan, as a coach, you're someone who values the process over the results, and I think at Oregon State your record proved what that can do. Not everyone is so patient these days with programs, and I'm curious, what do you tell people who maybe expect more out of this last little stretch where you guys have lost these 6 games?
Mm-hmm. I think you want, call it a fan base, expectation, that it means something to people, call it within the state. It definitely means something within the program. I'm not going to be up here asking for patience. We're not patient people. We do have perspective of we want to get some things established. Immediate results haven't come, but I'm confident in the process we're taking, and we're continuing to develop the current roster. And then just every year you're going to have new guys on the roster, I should say, and confident the results will come. I just see the work each day in and day out of this group. I see a lot of young talent that is out there that is getting quality experience, and they're doing some good things, but got a chance to continue to grow. I'm confident in the approach of this staff, the experience we've had. These guys have lived the experience of going and building something and coached at a really high level. Just think about all 3 phases of what we got in the building. All of that keeps my confidence pretty high.
Yeah, there was a play, I think, in the second quarter. I'm sorry, was someone else going? Sorry about that. 3rd down and 4, you get a completion out to the 40-yard line. I think the score is 14-6 at the time. Offensive pass interference. Can you coach that any differently? Because there's a motioning corner and Marsh there's a collision there. He didn't do anything. You can't coach that any differently?
No, that was not intentional in any way. I'm with you because we're asking him to push on a vertical route. And then, our number 2 receiver's coming underneath that. That's a tough call. I will say they're going to call if they think the intention of the receiver is to run into a defender, but that wasn't the intention of Marsh there. Coach it different, like hindsight. Okay, well we're asking him to get vertical. I don't want him slowing down. I don't need him just paying attention to some other defender So we're still working on how we can coach that different.
And it was 14-6 if you pick up a first down in midfield. They end up getting the ball back. It's 21-6. Key point in the game, even though it was early, I would imagine.
Yeah, anytime you're getting a conversion and then you have to back yourself up 15 yards, I mean, that's a big call, and it definitely didn't go our way.
Is Brown the other quarterback they play? It seems like he plays fairly often. Is he more of a runner when they put him in there?
What we've seen on tape, they're confident and call a lot of runs with him.
Okay. I also wanted to ask you about Rakeem. We saw him out there. I want to say that was his 4th game, so he's right on the edge there. Would you anticipate him being in the mix moving forward?
We do. I haven't sat down on that one. That one is a good question because we got to tighten. I know he's getting a bunch of reps. We're confident in his growth and where he's gone. And so right now, yes, he's currently good to play. Okay. Thanks, guys.